Welcome back to Agile Apothecary channel. My name is Masha and here we talk about everything Agile and a little bit about Japan. Today I have quite an exciting topic for you, icebreakers. Whenever we are running meetings, any kind of events really, workshops, trainings, team meetings, team planning events, we need to break the ice in the beginning of the event so that people start feeling a bit more comfortable, so that they can share their ideas openly, so that we have some psychological safety in place. And this is especially critical if you are doing your events over Zoom, over Teams, over Skype, online, because even though we are used now to have all those meetings online, it is still quite unnatural for us to talk to the screen, and especially if people don't have their cameras on, talk to a bunch of black squares or pictures. This feels a little bit weird, so we need to activate the audience. We need to make sure that everyone is on camera, everyone is involved, everyone is engaged. Today I would like to share with you a few ideas for icebreakers for virtual events that you can use when you do your Teams or Skype or Zoom event. And please note that although the icebreakers in general serve the same purpose, to activate the audience, to bring them to speaker, to help them start paying attention to what is going on, there are different types of icebreakers, and some we will be using for larger audiences when we just need to activate them a little bit. And there are icebreakers that we will be using for smaller groups, smaller teams, when we want to help people to start talking to each other, to start sharing things, to start generating creative ideas. So with that in mind, let's get started. I generally divide the icebreakers for virtual events into 3 types, and the first one would be show and tell. When you ask people to show something on the screen, on the camera, or tell some story, or do both. And let's start with those. These kind of icebreakers are very useful when you really want to get to know people in the room and help them to get to know each other. They take a little bit more time than other kinds that we'll be discussing later. So you would only be using those for smaller groups with fewer people, but they're very helpful if you want to help people start communicating with each other. So first idea I have for you is to ask people to change their virtual background. For example, to their most favorite vacation spot, or to their most favorite animal, or to their pet, or to a picture that brings up some memories for them. And then ask everyone to share a few words. This way you can establish some rapport between the team members, and maybe also hear a few fun stories, which will help to establish more engaging, more friendly atmosphere in the room. You can also ask people to bring up and show to everyone the most unusual object they have in the room, or on the desk, or in their bag, and tell its story. Again, this helps to break the ice, it helps to get people to share some stories and start talking to each other. But please be mindful that with this icebreaker and the previous one, it won't be really possible to do for people who are joining from the phone. So you need to make sure that everyone is joining from some environment when they actually can show and tell. And a couple more icebreakers I would suggest to you are only tell kind of icebreakers, so let's look at those. Share a hidden talent, or the most useless talent, or something that people don't know about you. And this really helps you not only to get to know people, but also to feel some psychological safety around them. To give you an example, I have synesthesia, which means, in my case, because it can manifest in many different ways, I see letters and digits in color. It is weird, it is hard to explain, but this is how my brain works. And whenever I need to break the ice, I quite often would tell this story about myself to people, and that really helps, because once they know that I'm weird, that I have some weird qualities, let's put it this way, they feel more at ease sharing something personal about themselves, and this helps us to establish some rapport. Okay, so you can ask people to share about hidden talents. You can ask them to share, for example, a memory from the childhood, an embarrassing, a fun memory. And once again, it helps people to be more open, to be more vulnerable, to have a few laughs, and just to get the conversation flowing, because this is what we want to achieve with the icebreakers. Okay, and last one in this category is more formal ones. So you won't always be in a situation where you can ask people to talk about their childhoods or some funny or weird things from the past. Sometimes the setup could be very formal, and in that case you can ask people to share, for example, the working preferences. When I used to work in McKinsey, we would share the results of the Myers-Briggs test. So I am INTP, and explain to everyone what it means and how it works and what is my working style like. It allows people to get to know each other a little bit better, but also it does not create any hurdles to share something really personal or emotional. Next one is the write in the chat kind of icebreakers. So when we do show and tell, this is something that we reserve for smaller groups when we really need to build some rapport between team members and get them to start talking to each other. When we ask people to write in the chat, this is usually what we will do for bigger audiences when we can't have enough time for everyone to speak up, and we just need to activate them a little bit to share something, and in this way to contribute to the meeting and start paying attention to whatever is happening and just be a little bit more active throughout the event. Okay, so what can you do for this kind of icebreakers? Well, first of all, and the easiest one is some kind of charades or riddles. Just put on your screen some charade, something where they need to do some guesswork to activate their brains a little bit, to get them interested, because once people are curious, this curiosity will stay for a while and you would be able to convey more information to them because they would be paying more attention. A very popular one is to ask people to put in the chat their first or their first music album, their favorite movie, their favorite cartoon, the first movie they saw on the big screen, etc. What's important here is to make it personal and really something that people would want to share. Because if you ask people what's your favorite color, no one would get excited about it. But if you ask people what's the first movie they saw on the big screen, they probably will get a little bit excited to share this, and they will get more engaged in the conversation or whatever is going on in your meeting. You can also ask people to share the favorite proverb or saying or a quote by a famous person, something they like and live by. And this is very similar to the previous one with a small twist, because here we ask them to share some wisdom equal to teaching. So in a way, people sharing the quote, the wisdom, the saying, they would feel like they have contributed to this event. They have taught something wise to everyone. And since they have contributed, they would be paying more attention to the event itself, as if they are taking, in a way, the side of the facilitators, of those who organize this event. So this will really help people to get emotionally attached to your event a little bit more than normally. Okay, and the last one in this category, and of course you can come up with many more ideas, and I'm just giving you a few ideas here. The last one I want to share is writing a caption. So give them some funny pictures, something that could become a meme, and ask everyone to create a fun caption for this. This is when you need to activate their creative juices and get them flowing, because people, once they start generating some jokes, something funny, like a caption to the picture, they get in a more creative mindset, and this really helps if you're running something like a design sprint or some workshop where people would need to create to generate some ideas. Okay, so this was our write section, and last one I have is annotate section. So write is when you put something on the chat, and the easiest one, the lowest hurdle for participants would be to annotate something on the screen or vote. So you can either pull up a poll on your screen, or put on a whiteboard, or put on some picture and ask people to use the Annotate tool that we have, for example, in Zoom. This is probably the smallest possible amount of work that people can do if you run icebreakers. They don't need to type, they don't need to say anything, they just have to put a mark. So this works really well when you have really big audience, or when you don't really need to energize everyone is energized, but maybe you want to bring them back after, let's say, a coffee break, and just bring a little bit of extra energy into the room. So one of the easiest one that I like doing quite a lot is putting on the screen a big map of the world and ask people to put pins where they come from, or their favorite travel location, or the place they want to go the most. And of course, you can always pick up a few people to share their stories if you have not too many participants, but this will just help everyone to get a little bit engaged. You can do some fun votings for certain things that don't really matter that much, to have a little bit of fun conversations. Maybe ask people whether they like or not to have pineapple on the pizza, and maybe get a few to share their opinions. It will hopefully generate a few laughs. Hopefully no one will kill anyone over this. So think about the topic that is relevant for your team, that is funny, that is quite lightweight, to just again bring everyone back into the room, into the meeting, get them a little bit engaged. You can use tools like Kahoot, for example, to run votings. You can vote for the team name if you are starting a team. If you have a new team, you can get people to suggest a team name. You can ask people to vote for the next place to go for team dinner, for team lunch, for team outing, right? So doing some lightweight voting, or ask people to annotate something on the screen, will help you to get some energy in the room, but won't create any extra work for the participants, won't make them feel uneasy. And I hope it will really help you to nail your meetings, make them more fun and more engaging. What do you like to do for your meetings? How do you run them? How do you usually break the ice? Please share in the comments. I would love to hear from you, and I love collecting new ideas, so anything that you would share I will really appreciate. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.